Who's going to drive you home tonight? Vital question. Antoine Lewis, certainly not. That's not his forte. My food and book expert is in studio.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Rishi K.
Well, back to your forte, which is food and books. Back from Ireland of all places. Lucky you, man. This must have been one hell of a trip, Antoine.
Well, Rishi, I've been waiting to visit Ireland for a long time now. So after this trip, it's one item gets ticked off the bucket list. Of course, for me, the connection has been more political and about the shared anti-colonial history between India and Ireland. But this is also the Emerald Isle, and it's famous for its vast green landscapes. And I was there to experience Irish food. And I have to say, I went in as a tabula rasa, really, a blank slate. The only things I knew about Ireland was that the Irish love potatoes. I knew of champ, which is a dish made from mashed potatoes and milk, Guinness beer, and Jameson whiskey. And of course, you too. How could I forget?
Of course.
Though I didn't know that Van Morrison was Irish and from Belfast.
Of course he is. So I reckon you ate a lot of potatoes, apart from sampling some local music and local beverages.
It was like potatoes, like for 3 meals for 5 days a week. I mean, potatoes are a religion in Ireland, The average Irish person eats more potatoes than the staunchest vegetarian in India. And I ate them in every form possible. Creamed, mashed, baked, roasted, fried, sliced, French, chips, everything. Now, one of the reasons America has such a strong Irish population is because of the mass migration that took place after the Great Famine, or the Irish Potato Famine, that occurred between 1845 and 1849. Now, potato was one of the main staples of the Irish tenant farmer and of the peasants, since it was a hardy, nutritious, it was calorie dense and relatively easy to grow in Irish soil. We visited a very interesting place called the Ulster American Folk Part, which it's an open-air museum, explores the stories of 3 centuries of Irish immigration. Within the museum, there are these many restored original buildings from the 18th century, and inside them you'll find these costumed guides who will tell you about how the Irish people actually lived in those times. And one thing you discover is that by the 1840s, almost half the Irish population, primarily the rural poor, had come to depend almost entirely on the potato. And that was supplemented with a little bit of milk and buttermilk for their diet. So when the potato crop failed for 4 successive years, about 1 million people died and another 1 million people immigrated to America.
That's a fascinating nugget from history. So potato still plays an important part in Irish life?
They do. Of course, now they have a lot more varieties. And at the Orchard Acre Farm, it's a sustainable farm. One of the main courses was actually a roasted Dublin Queen. It's a huge potato, slightly bigger than a man's fist. And it was just plain topped with butter.
Antoine's on Instagram at Antoine Lewis, ANTOINELEWIS. Great man to follow. Dire Straits, heavy fuel.